Welcome to the murky world of political scandals. Did you know that in the last decade, nearly 70% of politicians have faced some form of scandal? It's shocking, right? Political scandals don't just make headlines, they can change the course of history, alter public opinion, and even topple governments. Here's a startling fact. During the Watergate scandal, President Nixon's approval ratings plummeted from 66% to 24% in just a few months. That's a dramatic fall, showing just how quickly public perception can shift. Scandals grab our attention and keep us talking. They tap into our emotions and create chaos that many politicians and their teams use to their advantage. But how do these scandals actually work behind the scenes? What strategies do politicians use to create, control, or survive them? In this video, we'll explore the hidden mechanics of political scandals. We'll dive into the tactics of media manipulation, the power of leaks, and the economics of chaos. So buckle up as we uncover the truth behind the headlines. Get ready to see the drama, the strategy, and the real stories that unfold when politics gets messy. Chapter 1: The Scandal Machine. Crafting a crisis. Scandals don't just happen. They're often carefully crafted. Politicians and their teams understand that perception is everything. A study by the Pew Research Center found that 62% of Americans get their political news from social media, where scandals can spread like wildfire. The moment a scandal breaks, every detail is exaggerated, manipulated, or even invented to serve a purpose. It's not uncommon for opposition parties to fan the flames. In fact, many political teams employ crisis architects, people whose sole job is to take minor missteps and turn them into something headline-worthy. Author Frank Luntz, in his book Words That Work, talks about how language can fuel scandals. By choosing the right words, something that seems trivial can suddenly appear as a major ethical breach. Take Watergate, for instance. It started as a break-in, but through strategic framing and public pressure, it became one of the biggest scandals in American history. The same strategy applies today. The more shocking the story, the better it sells. The goal? Create enough noise that the public can't ignore it. Chapter 2: Puppeteers of Perception. Media manipulation. The media plays a huge role in shaping how scandals unfold. Journalists, after all, need stories that grab attention. But not all coverage is created equal. Studies show that sensational headlines increase click-through rates by 67%. It's not just about reporting facts, it's about how they're framed. Media outlets often choose sides. Some networks may downplay a scandal if it involves a politician they support, while others amplify it for political gain. The book Manufacturing Consent by Edward S. Herman and Noam Chomsky highlights how media outlets shape public opinion to serve elite interests. In political scandals, this manipulation is key. By focusing on specific details, they can sway public sentiment, either making a scandal seem much worse or less important. Here's a fact: during the 2016 US elections, there were over 50,000 false news stories shared on social media that contributed to the narrative around various political scandals. Many of these stories were picked up by major news outlets, further complicating the truth. Once a scandal hits the headlines, news outlets start repeating the same story. This repetition is no accident. A study by the American Press Institute showed that if a news story is repeated at least 3 times, the audience is 90% more likely to believe it. The more airtime a scandal gets, the more real it becomes, even if the details are shaky. Scandal and perception go hand in hand, and often, the truth takes a backseat to what sells. Chapter 3: Damage Control Playbook. Politician tactics to survive. When a scandal breaks, the first reaction of most politicians is panic. But behind the scenes, crisis management experts go to work. The first rule? Control the narrative. This is where spin doctors come in. Their job is to make a scandal seem less harmful or shift the blame entirely. Some politicians even go on the offensive, attacking the credibility of their accusers. A famous example comes from Bill Clinton's handling of the Lewinsky scandal. Clinton and his team denied the allegations for months, using deflection and selective truth-telling. Even when the truth came out, they shifted the conversation to a vast right-wing conspiracy against him, softening the blow. His approval ratings actually increased after the scandal, proving that the right spin can turn even the worst situations into political wins. Another strategy? Distraction. If a politician can shift attention to another issue, the public might forget about the scandal altogether. Data from a 2020 analysis by the Harvard Kennedy School found that when politicians launched a new policy initiative or made a bold statement within 72 hours of a scandal breaking, public interest in the scandal dropped by 43%. Politicians also rely on loyal media outlets and surrogates to help them weather the storm. By having allies in the media or other politicians speak on their behalf, they create a buffer. This way, they don't seem directly involved in the dirty work of defending themselves. The key here is to stay above the fray, letting others do the talking while the politician focuses on the people's work. In extreme cases, when damage control fails, resignation may be the only option. But even that can be spun positively. Resigning, for the good of the country, can give a disgraced politician a path to redemption later on. As former President Richard Nixon said during his resignation speech, "I have always tried to do what was best for the nation." If you're enjoying these insights, don't forget to subscribe. We have more intriguing stories and analyses coming your way. Chapter 4: Who Leaked It? The power of political backstabbing. Political leaks are one of the most effective tools for igniting a scandal. But leaks rarely happen by accident. More often than not, they are intentional and strategically timed. Politicians or their allies sometimes leak damaging information to weaken their rivals, both inside and outside their own party. In politics, backstabbing is common. A report by the Washington Post showed that over 75% of political scandals in the last decade involved insider leaks. It's all about power plays. When a politician is seen as vulnerable or when there's an opportunity to shift the balance of power, insiders start leaking. Take the case of Boris Johnson's downfall as UK Prime Minister in 2022. His leadership was plagued by a series of leaks, including the Watergate scandal, where his own government officials revealed details of illegal gatherings during COVID-19 lockdowns. These leaks didn't come from the opposition, they came from within his own party. Backstabbing can sometimes be the deadliest blow in politics because it comes from those you least expect. Strategically, leaking can serve two purposes. First, it can help discredit an opponent without the leaker having to get their hands dirty. Second, it can provide plausible deniability. If damaging information gets out but there's no trace of who released it, the instigator remains safe while their target takes the hit. According to a survey conducted by Politico, more than 65% of political staffers admit that they or their colleagues have either leaked information or considered doing so for strategic reasons. This shows just how ingrained leaks are in the political game. Chapter 5: Scandal Economics. Who profits from political chaos? Political scandals don't just affect politicians, they also create economic ripples. In fact, there's a whole ecosystem that profits from political chaos. When scandals break, lobbyists, media outlets, and even certain businesses cash in. For starters, news outlets see a huge boost in readership during scandal cycles. A study by the Reuters Institute found that media engagement spikes by 28% during major political scandals. Why? Because scandals sell. People are naturally drawn to drama, and media outlets know this. The more sensational the scandal, the higher their profits. They'll run the story over and over again, squeezing every drop of attention they can. Lobbyists also benefit from scandals. When a politician is caught in controversy, they may need more help from lobbying firms to salvage their reputation or push through policies that deflect attention. This is particularly true in industries with tight government regulations, like pharmaceuticals or oil. Scandals make politicians desperate, and desperate politicians are willing to listen. Interestingly, scandal-related stocks can also be affected. In 2018, when the Cambridge Analytica scandal hit Facebook, the company's stock dropped by nearly 20%, costing them $120 billion in market value. But hedge funds betting on this kind of market movement saw huge profits. Scandals, in many ways, create opportunities for financial players to make big moves. Author Matt Taibbi in his book The Divide explains how Wall Street thrives on moments of chaos, including political scandals. It's not just about the scandal itself, but about how it creates uncertainty in the market that smart investors can exploit. The bottom line? Scandals are a business opportunity for many. If you enjoyed this exploration into the world of political scandals, make sure to subscribe for more intriguing content. We'll keep unpacking the layers of politics and revealing the truths you need to know.